Okay, first of all, thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to the Super 100 group, right? Today is the first day, and today is more of a welcome session. I'm going to tell you about a lot of things about this program, and we'll just understand like what we are trying to achieve as part of this program. Okay, so it's not going to be a very long session. It will be a 1 hour session today. From next week onwards, we are starting the actual thing, right? So, okay, so there are almost 30 plus students as part of this group as of now, right? So, if so, let me just introduce myself. Okay, so my full name is Akhil Jain. I have 15 plus years of experience in the software testing field. I have been currently teaching for almost 3 years now, and I have courses on a lot of places. This is my own platform, which is Podtest, where I conduct very in-depth sessions for different types of courses. This particular thing which we have enrolled for, right, is called as Super 100. Why Super 100? I started with a vision that I would be trying to prepare 100 students as part of this group, right, who would be self-sufficient to work on two different areas. Okay, two different areas. One is Selenium side, okay, and second would be Playwright side. Why these two? Because these are the two dominant forces currently in work, right, across the industry, right? The most of the legacy code or the projects are working on this area, right? When we talk about Selenium, people use Java as a language over there, okay? And when we talk about Playwright, people use TypeScript or the JavaScript, right, to work on it. Now, as I said, right, the all the older projects, right, who have been running for quite a long time are all almost, right, not everything, but a lot of them, right, are working on this tech stack, Selenium Java, to help to have the web framework, web automation framework. And this is still in place. So a lot of the job openings which you would see across the industry is around this place only. Okay, is around this only. Now, when you talk about the current trending thing, right, it is more about Playwright. Okay, Playwright, you would see the difference, why there is a difference on Selenium and Playwright, and why are people switching from Selenium to Playwright as an industry, right? From this, as part of this, you will realize it once we start creating a framework. But to help you understand, we already have all the courses in place, right? So again, coming back to the topic first. So what are we trying to achieve? We will be creating two different frameworks. Okay, the whole idea about Super 100 is that we wanted to achieve to learn how to create a framework design from scratch, right? And I call it as a unified framework because I will be covering two different layers of the application. One is the web and second is the API. Okay. Now, when it comes to Selenium tech stack, I would be using REST assured along with it to have the capability of testing my APIs or use API as a data layer as a layer who can generate me data for my web test cases. Okay, so this is the combination which we are going to prepare a framework with. One combination. So we'll start with this only. Second combination which we'll start with is the Playwright. Now Playwright inbuilt has the capability of both the stuff, web plus API. So we do not need something extra along with it, right? So we'll be designing the entire framework with this text, right? So if you understand, this is what we are trying to achieve, and by what means? First, by using this tech stack, and then this tech stack. If you are able to go through this, right, and able to understand things, understand this, that you are almost able to tap on the maximum opportunities available in the industry. Okay, because maximum job things are available across these two areas only. Now, I wanted, so this is what the overall objective of this course is, right? It's a 8 weeks boot camp, right? As we all know, it's a 8 week boot camp. Classes will happen on Saturday and Sunday, and classes would be from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. We started late today at 8 a.m. So I right, just because it's an intro session. From next week onwards, we are going to start with 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. right, and this would be Saturday Sunday. All the classes would be recorded. So if someone misses out, they can please go back and check the recording. But I would highly recommend, please do not miss the class, because when you are in a live class, you tend to follow that 3 hour schedule. Whereas when it comes to recording, you have to spend those 3 hours extra from your other routine. Okay, so please try to be regular, right? I have tried to keep it in the early hours of the day because you can have the entire day left to work on your other stuff. Okay, people joining from US, right? I think this time still suits you because it will be very late in the night for you, but still I hope this is still manageable for UK folks, and for the people coming from different time zones where it is very early morning. I can feel your pain, but I do not have any other option. Okay, so please, if you can join, it would be very good. Okay, it's just a matter of weekends, and that to 8 weeks only. Now, although I'm not promising, but I will be also trying to fit the MCP servers into it. Okay, that is something bonus which I would like to add to our discussion once we are done with the framework designing. How do we use AI and MCP servers in this context? But again, this is I am hope that I can cover it because I am currently in the analysis phase of the AI and all. So if I am ready, I will include this discussion also into these two. Okay, so that is the whole overall objective. Now, first of all, I would like to tell you about your available resources which you should be knowing. What all you can access, right, as part of this program. I hope every one of you, right, has received first of all the invites, right? You have the invites for the classes. There are Hari, you would have not got the invite. I will send you after this class. Okay, so the Saturday Sunday invites, let me just show you. So we have it opens up very quickly. Okay, in the meanwhile, let me also open one more thing, Google Drive. Right, so we have next week onwards, right? So right, so next week onwards, we have this bootcamp started, right, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So please, if accept Hari, right? If someone else has not got the invite, please let me know, right? I will forward you the invites, right? So this is, I have given you the invites for almost 8 weeks, right? Let me just change the view. It is week, month. Okay, so we have classes on Saturday, Sunday, right, for next 8 weeks. So we are starting from 2nd of August, and as of now, I have planned the classes till 21st of September, which are 8 weeks. But it does not mean that I have to end in 8 weeks only, right? Although I will try my best to finish it in the 8 weeks, but there could be an extension of 1 or 2 weeks. So please be ready for that also. Okay, depending on how good we are covering this stuff, right? Uh, okay, one more thing. So this is about the classes. So you should have the access resources, right? I'll be writing resources. If you do not have any access to any of these, let me know. The invites, right? Class invites. So everyone should have this. Second thing is about the access to your courses, right? With this program, I am providing access to all the Web Plus API courses which I have at Podcast, right? And please be mindful, like all these courses are so much detailed, right? That you will not find such courses anywhere else. Okay, but the problem with these courses is that these are too much lengthy, right? And the reason for those to be lengthy is because they are too much detailed, covered from scratch, right? And every topic has been tried to explain from very scratch. Okay, so everyone should have got access to all the courses. How does it look like? You would see in your shared drive, right? In your Google Drive, whatever email you would have registered with me, right? I would have given you the access, and you would see a folder something like this. You would see a folder something like this called Super 100. Okay, now if you would go there, right, you will find all the courses. Now, just for the for everyone's benefit, let me tell you, right, this is Java SJ Selenium, right? So all the things around Java Selenium, right, you would find it here. Okay, so primarily what we are interested in, I mean, I will tell you about the tech stack we are going to use. But see here, right? We have Java, we have Selenium, we have TestNG. If you see Java itself, we have almost 30 plus videos here, right? So I hope, and every video is almost 2.5 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours, right? So you can understand the depth of content we would have done here. Java, Selenium, and all, right? So these are all the Java, Selenium, Maven, TestNG, okay? web automation basics, how does CSS works, how does HTML work. So everything is here. Even here, right, I have covered a framework design module, which covers the web portion of the Selenium designing. But if you would see, right, this was done after covering all those modules, and then we moved to this part, right, where we took these many classes to to generate a web framework. It does not have the API layer. Okay, it does not have the API layer. So this is about Java thing, right? If I go back and okay, here one more thing, right? We are going to use Allure reporting here. So Allure, you can see the basics of Allure is explained here, right? Similarly, all the modules, anything I have consumed in our framework, right? You would find a module for it, because I do not want it to cover anything without explaining, right? So all the basic building blocks are all in these videos. If I go back, step away, right? Let's now move to JavaScript side, right? So if you have to work with Playwright and all, right, you need some understanding around JavaScript and TypeScript. So this is the modules for you, right? You can go to JavaScript. You can go to JavaScript, right? So these are all the videos. Similarly, TypeScript, right? So this is the recommended thing which you need to have. You need to learn, right? Again, everything from scratch. Going back, Playwright, right? That is our objective of this bootcamp. So Playwright, all the things around Playwright is explained in these videos. Okay. So all the basic building blocks are covered here. And the last part, the API part. Okay, you also get access to Cypress and WebDriver.io. So if you are interested to understand those, you can please go ahead and learn from here, right? You will have the access to it. The last thing is about API automation, right? With API, we are currently running a API bootcamp, which will finish on 15th of August. So you will see a Playwright folder also be here. Okay, once we are done with it. But as of now, we have all covered the API basics. So if someone wants to understand around anything around API, this is the folder for you. If you want to understand Postman, this is the folder for you, right? All the Postman explained in detail over here. Similarly, currently we are running Rest Assured in our API bootcamp, and this is what all the recordings are. And in maybe by next weekend, you will see all the remaining videos coming up here, and then you will see the Playwright folder also. Okay, so these are all your basic building blocks, right? So this you need to have access on, right? If anyone does not have the access to it, please let me know. Okay, done. Okay, so two things done. One is the invite, second is the Google Drive access to courses. So each one of you should have it. The third thing which you need to have is the access to the Discord community. I know many of you might not have this access, right? Because you have not. There was a link which I have shared, and I see like not everyone has enrolled into it. So, but I will. Okay, so this is the link for it. If anyone wants to enroll now, and if they have not done it already, I am messaging in our chat box right now. Please join it through this link. Okay, please join it through this link, Discord. Once you enroll, right, you will see a lot of channels here, right, for every topic. Okay, for us, our for the communication about this batch, right, this is the channel Super 100 B1, right, which you can use to communicate something, right? Or if I have to communicate something, I will be communicating through the channel only. The respective tech channels, right? If you have a query on Java or something, right, these are the respective channels. Okay, and based on your enrollment into our programs, you would see, since you are part of Super 100, so you would see almost all the channels here, right? Almost all the channels. But let's say you have a query on Java, you should open the Java channel and ask a query here. Okay, and then I can answer your query, or maybe someone else, right, who knows the answer. And I also expect you to provide the answers to others' queries also. Okay, okay, fine. Now this is the Discord thing, right? Third thing, this is Discord, which will help you to with your query resolution. Discord query, right? Discord communication. So please, if someone has not joined it, please join it. Okay. The fourth thing, which you will have access to, GitHub. Again, a lot of you have not filled up the form. Okay, I will tell you like how you can ask for the access, but this is what you need to get access to. Let me show you. Okay, so if I show you, you see we have these many private repos. Okay, rest assured, Postman, Cypress, WebDriver.io, Playwright, TypeScript, right? Let me just show you one of the repository, right? Let's say for Playwright. If you open Playwright, you see we are maintaining the branch, the repository day wise. If you see, these are all the days. Whatever content we covered on a particular day on Playwright videos, if you start watching a Playwright course and let's say you are on day 4 and you are watching what I'm explaining there, right? And we are writing the code in the video, right? You need the access to that reference code. This is your place, right? You will find the repo, you will go there, switch to that branch, and then you can access the entire code. Okay, this is very good. This could be very good for people who are trying to let's say practice something, right? And they have a doubt on, or they do not, they just want to see the entire code, right? This is how you will do it. Okay, many of you have not uh, taken the access to it, so I would again request, please take the access to it. Now, just to formalize this process, right, of getting the access, what I did was I have done one more thing, right? I'm asking everyone to fill one form, and most of you, not most of you, I think some of you, right, have already filled the form. Let me show you what that form is. Grant access, right? Podcast grant access form. You have to open it up. I will share the link, right? Here I am asking for these details. Okay. So please, it has the link to our Discord server also. So please join it if you missed from our chat. Second thing, please fill up this form, right? GitHub email ID. I need your GitHub email ID, whatever account you have on GitHub, right? Using the email ID, please mention it, and please tell this the course which you have selected, because this form is used by almost all the students who are part of different modules at podcast, right? So please do select which program you're part of. For most of you, it would be either Super 100 or full stack. Okay, so please decide it, choose accordingly, and then let me know. Once you fill the form, I can then grant you access to the GitHub. Okay. Okay. So this is the fourth thing: GitHub repos, Google Drive, Discord communication, and the last thing which I want to, which we have as per plan is, we will also have week, one weekday Q&A, right, session. This will be held on Wednesday. Okay, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the evening. Okay, IST. 7 p.m. IST, right? So I have not floated the invites for this. I will float the invites from next week onwards for this, right? So every week I will have this session. What we will do is, in our regular classes, right, we are going to learn, right? Then what I would be asking, okay, let me now tell you, right, what would be the flow of work, right? So let's open a new board. Just a second. So please be mindful of your resources, right? If any of you does not have access to any of these or some of these, right, do let me know. Okay, do let me know, because I want you to have the complete thing right with you. Okay, now here, right? So how we will do, right? How we will go through the process, right? I would say learning process. See, uh, we are going to have classes. Let's say on next Saturday, right? We will do something on the. We will start something right over it. What we'll do is, it's a 3 hour session, right? It's a 3 hour session. What we'll do is, I would be starting with the topic, right, and try to cover it, right? Whatever we have to do with the for that session, right? And we are done with it. Let's say we are done with it, right? Then what I would expect from you, right? You have to create, you need to learn how to create a repo on GitHub, first of all. Okay. You need to learn that. If I hope that every one of you know that, but let's say if you do not know, then you have the resources again available with you. You can please go and see from here. If you go to your again Super 100 program and go to where, even in the Java module, right? If you go, you will see something called DevOps. Okay. Here we have taught about how to create a repo on GitHub, how to use Git and all, right? So all the things are mentioned here, right? But it's a very it's a very straightforward process. You just need to create a repo, right? By going to this, you can just go there, test, create a public repo. Do not create a private repo, okay? Create a public repo. Let's do it actually. I would encourage everyone, please go to your GitHub account, okay? Go to your GitHub account, go to your repositories, okay? Then click on new repo. Click on new repo, and then you would see your name, right? Your account thing, and then over here type here fs, right? I mean, and this is full stack. Fs means full stack. That's what I type here, and then you can write framework. Let's say Selenium framework, right? Let's say this Selenium framework. Okay, you can write this, or you can write, let's say, okay, let me give a better name so that we can have, at least for me, right? I will create like something like this: FS Super 100. This is batch one, so B1, right? I will be creating this, and this would be for Selenium. Okay, so this is the name of my repo. It might feel like it's a very bad name, considering the numbers and all, but anything which makes sense, right? You're able to get to the meaning of your repo, what it exactly provides. It is good enough a name. Okay, so for me, this is a good enough name. So I'll create this repo. I'll create it as a public repo. Okay, I will not create it as a public repo. I will create it as a private repo so that only you guys will have access to this repo. But the repo which you will create at your end for your work, right? Create it as a public so that I can access your repos to review your work. Okay. So please go ahead and create a repo as a public and create it, right? Whatever name you feel like. I do not care. Or if you could write it something like this, it would be very good so that it could be consistent for all the students. Just create it like this: FS framework, Selenium framework. Okay. Let's follow this terminology. FS Selenium framework. Okay. FS Selenium or rest assured, something like this. So that it tells you that we are going to create a unified framework which will cover two things: Selenium plus rest assured. Yeah, I'm noting it down. I will give you the access. Okay. Vaibhav, we need to give the access to Discord. I will WhatsApp you. Okay, Vaibhav? I'll give you the access. Okay. So this is how you need to create a repo. Okay. Okay. Similarly, you will create a second repo, but after a while, once you start with the Playwright. So we'll create FS Playwright framework. Something like this. So we'll create two different repos. Okay. Everyone, please create as a public repo. Okay. That's it. That's the only thing which you have to do as of now. Okay. Now, once you're done with it, right, I would ask you, right, I would expect you to create a repo, create a repo, create a repo, and then do what? For everyday work, right? Let's say I did something, right? In these 3 hours, I will be explaining a lot of things and doing the stuff, right? And I will be the one who will be doing the stuff on the screen. What I would expect from each one of you, right? If you really want to take the benefit of the entire program, I would expect from each one of you to go back and replicate, right? By understanding all the concepts, to replicate whatever we did right in the class in your repos. Okay, in your repos. Okay, and then share and complete that work right on that day itself. So this is Saturday, right? Go and prepare the things right on Saturday itself. Otherwise, it will pile up. I'm telling you, it will pile up because it's a 3 hour work, right? We are doing in the class, and then you have to go back and repeat yourself. If you can do along with the class, it will be very helpful. But sometimes, right, it takes time to process something, and I do not want you to just, let's say, copy pasting, right? I want you to understand the stuff and then write it down. Okay, so please, what I understand is that you will not be able to follow along or write your code as we do in the class. Okay, so you would need some extra time to do it. So, but use that extra time on the same day so that you are with the pace, right? And it does not spill over. It does not spill over to your weekdays, which is your office days, right? So please try to complete that part here by the end of the day, right? What I will also ask from you guys is, see, as I said, right, please keep the name of your repos as this: FS Selenium framework, right? And I'm already asking you guys to provide me your GitHub email IDs, right? Okay, GitHub email IDs. But what I will also ask you guys, right? Once you create the repos, right, over here, please in this super 100 channel, right? In this super 100 channel over here, right? Please share the repo link, right, of your GitHub with me over here, right? So that what I will do it after 9 p.m. IST, right? I will go and review everyone's work, right, to understand like where we are. Okay, so I'm going to do it on a daily basis on that day itself, right? I will check like what where you are, whatever you will be able to cover, right? And I expect that this is the deadline for you to finish the work. Okay, whatever we did in the morning. So you still have almost what 10 hours or 12 hours, right, to complete the stuff. Okay, so please do that. What I will do is I will review your work, right? I will review your work and then I will give you the review comments, okay, based on whatever I understand from your code. If everything is good, no review comment required, but I would be tracking your progress here, right? Tracking progress. And I would be reaching out to you through this Discord channel itself, right? By pointing your name, right? And asking you like you covered this part, or if you and this is that these are the review comments which I have shared. Okay. Second thing which I expect from you is if you are not able to achieve what was expected, right? Then please tell here, right, that what was the reason. Maybe if it is a time reason, then it's a different case. But if it is a reasoning thing, let's say you are blocked somewhere, right, and you wanted to understand it, then please mention here, right, what is that you do not understood. Okay. Although what I expect is since the class recording, right, since see if we finish it at 10 a.m. so maybe by 1 p.m. IST this recording would get available. And what you would also see now is you will see a folder under this super 100, right? You will see a folder here called super 100 b1, okay, where all the recordings of these classes would be fit into. So let's say you missed out some concept and you want to recheck those, right? Please go back and check that concept from the video first. Okay. If you still there is a problem, then you can ask your query here. But I'm sure if you would follow the video and able to go through it, you would be able to understand. Okay. So please do that, right? But still, if you have a query, please come here and ask me here, right? Over here. So this is your first chance of asking the query. Okay. Second thing, let's say, right, you were able to do it for both the days, Saturday and Sunday, and you were able to finish some work, right? Or right, and you were able to do it. And let's say there is some spillover and you are still in progress, and let's say you have some doubts. What I'm suggesting you is there is a session on Wednesday, right, which I'm saying, which is at 7 p.m. IST. Okay, 7 p.m. IST. Please join that session and ask your query one-to-one with me. Okay, I will float this invite to everyone. Please use this time, right, to ask your query specifically, but by showing your code. It should not be like, okay, explain me that, explain me this. No, this will not work. What I want is the real work being shown in the code, and then ask the appropriate query. I want to see what is the progress you're making. Okay, so please do that. Okay, so this is your chance to ask your query one-to-one. In a 3-hour session of Saturday, Sunday, it will not be very feasible to answer everyone's query, right, on every day. But it does not mean that you will not ask your query. You can ask your queries. But if I see that it is taking time of the regular work, I will park it away and maybe fit it to this class. Okay, Wednesday class, where you can ask your queries, whatever you have, or use your Discord channel to ask it. So I hope we are clear with the flow, like how things will work. And I would be tracking your progress every day, and then this is the timeline which I expect you to finish your work with. Okay. Okay. When I'm saying this, it does not mean that even if you do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I will not review. I will review it right there also. But this will really make your life easy, so that it will not interfere with your with your office work also. Okay. So that you can create a separation of this work and your office work. I know everyone is busy, so but using your time diligently will really help you to take the benefit of the entire thing. Okay, so I hope we are clear, right? Like what should be your path of learning. Okay, we are clear with the resources. I hope, right? We are clear with the resources. These are all the resources which you should be knowing. I hope we understand the learning curve or the learning process which you should follow. Right? Now let's come to the real thing. Let's come to the real thing. Let's understand, right, what are we trying to achieve here. Okay, what we are trying to achieve. Okay, this thing, right? If someone has not got the access to it, to the Discord and sorry, to the GitHub, I am floating this invite again in the Super 100 batch, right? Over here. This is one thing. Please fill up this form. Okay, please fill up this form so that I can grant you the access. Second thing, if someone does not have the access to the Discord itself, I am putting it in this channel also, right? And if some like wherever I will share this link separately also if you have not taken the access. But if someone does not have access, if someone can access it from the our meeting invite also, this chat box I'm pinging it here also. Okay, so you can please access from here. And even after the class, if you feel that someone is not able to do it, please message me, WhatsApp me, LinkedIn, right? And we can do it. Okay, and I will grant you the access. I'll share the link. Okay, one last thing. If you are connected with me on LinkedIn, great. If you're not, then this is my profile on LinkedIn. Please, you can connect with me here, right, on LinkedIn. Okay. This is my link, LinkedIn Akhil Zen podcast. Let me just also ping it here. Someone is not here, right? So this is my link. Second of all, okay, what I wanted to share. This is the link. Yeah. Okay. There is a YouTube channel which I run, right? I'm not sure if you all have access to it or not, or if someone wants to follow this. So this is my channel of YouTube where I have kept some videos. I have not posted videos on this for a long time now, but very soon I'm going to start posting good content again. I will start posting it there, right? So if anyone is interested, please you can enroll or get subscribed to this channel also. I'm going to put a lot of AI things and other stuff right to this channel. Okay, and this is free for everyone. So this is one thing. Just about the presence, right? Where I am currently available on all the different platforms. Just for the knowledge, see, I am available on all these. If you would see, right, I was taking a boot camp for Geeks for Geeks. I mean, it's been a year. I have not taken the course. I have not taken the boot camp for them, but I ran 4 sessions for them. Just a second. So this is Geeks for Geeks, where it was again a 12 weeks concept where we were running all the stuff. Currently, I believe, I don't know who's taking the batch right now. It does not tell here, right? Okay, it does not tell. But yeah, but this was what I was taking, right, for Geeks for Geeks. Second thing, and I took the first 4 batches. Currently, I believe batch number 20 or 25 would be running right now. Okay. The second thing, if you see, I have a course on Udemy. Let me show you that course, which I can show you here. So I have a presence on Udemy, but it's like a short videos kind of a concept. Let me show you my course. Selenium 02. Yeah, this one, right? This course. I have a course on Udemy. Okay, so if it's like 30 hours kind of a content, 5 minutes videos, and I've covered a lot of things over here. Okay, so this is the course. I mean, I'm telling it, if someone is looking for this course in your circle also, please, if you can refer them, great. Okay, so this is my presence over here. Third thing I have on the test drive also. Test drive, I conducted again some boot camps for them, and there is a recorded course, the same course which I have on Udemy, right? I have it on test drive also. This is my course. What else? These are 3 things: Selenium, sorry, test drive, Udemy, YouTube, podcast, and I think YouTube, right? So 4-5 places where I am currently present, and the fifth, which I am mostly active on, is the LinkedIn. Okay, so I try to share a lot of posts on LinkedIn through whatever I get time from. Right? Currently, I do not get much time, so I'm not sharing a lot of content. But you can please check the earlier post also, right? I'm sure some of them will make connect with you, and you will be able to understand some of the concepts. Okay. Okay, fine. This is my presence. Now let's come back to the topic. What are we trying to achieve, right? Okay. So let's talk about the first thing, the first framework, right? Which will start working framework. We'll talk about the framework design. Okay, I'm going to tell you like how the framework will look like in the today's session itself. But let's first understand the tech stack. So framework, right? When we talk about Selenium and the assured part, what all are we going to consume, right? As the different tools or libraries to achieve this framework. Now, the first thing which I will use, right, is the language, which is Java. Okay, Java. So let me now write the softwares which you would need to install. Okay, software installations. You need to have at least Java 17. Okay, you can use Oracle JDK, you can use Open JDK, whatever you feel like, right? You can install it. If someone has a problem or does not understand how to do it, I will show it to you also. But there is a video also, right? Here, if you go to the Super 100 program, Java as that, right? Here, if you go, and again, I'm giving you this thing, I'm telling you this information so that if you need more detailed information, these are your videos, right? You can just understand what is JDK and all this and how to install this, right? So it is all covered in this video. Okay. So I think I'll be using Open JDK 17. Okay. I will not be using Oracle one. I'll be using Open JDK. This Java version. Yeah. Anything above 17, right, will work. If you have, but try it again. My recommendation to everyone is keep a long-term support version. Do not use something which is short-term. Okay. So I think Java 17 and 21 are the ones which are long-term support. I have not kept track of things. Like maybe there is a latest version after 21 also. I don't know. But the latest version which I know, which came right way back, was 21. But I'm not using it. I'm using Java 17. Okay. So please install that one. Java 17. Okay. So we need this software. So what you can do is you can either download it from Oracle or OpenJDK. Anything greater than equal to 17 will work. Why 17 only? Because Selenium does not work. Because see, Selenium I think works on 11 now. Okay, I believe Selenium works on 11 right now. But Selenium is about to even expire that. Selenium will not support Java 11 for a very long time. Okay, they just have recently, I think 1 year back, they moved from Java 8 to 11. But I am sure very soon they will move from 11 to 17 also. Okay, because the rest of the world is already moving to 17. It takes time, it takes number of years to get your existing stuff to a new upgraded version, because in the process you do not want to break the things which are attached to you. Okay, so it's a slow process, but in the end I feel like they would be reaching to Java 17 in a year or two, right? So please start using 17 only. And the second reason is because most of the other libraries which I'll be using, right, they would not work on 11, they would be working on 17. Okay, so please use this version or greater than this. Whatever you have is fine. But I would again recommend, do not use a short-term version. Use a long-term support version, either 17 or 21. But even if you have 22, 23, 18, 19, I'm fine with it. It would work for this work, for this bootcamp. Second thing which we'll use, right, as a tech stack is Selenium for our browser automation. Okay. You do not need to install anything for it. We'll do it as part of a framework design. Okay. But this Java you need to have. Third thing, right? What we'll use? We'll use TestNG for our testing framework. This will help us to create our testing framework. This is like an engine, execution engine, which will help us to run our test cases, plan our test cases, and even execute them. Okay, so it's a testing framework. Why we call it as a testing framework? Okay, mind you, right? We are not calling our framework as testing framework, right? The one which you're designing. Because it's not a testing framework, it's an automation framework. Okay, you're trying to create a web, you're trying to create a framework which can suit your needs of the application. Okay, testing framework is those frameworks which helps you to write test cases, execute them, give you that capability, and TestNG provides you that. So it's a testing framework. You would need a reporting framework also. A reporting framework would be something which can help you to report your execution. TestNG does provide you a reporting, but that is something which I do not like a lot. Okay, so we'll be using a reporting framework called Allure. The next thing, Java, Selenium, TestNG, Allure, Maven, which is your build tool. This will help you to build your project. Okay, what does building means? Again, we have a complete module on Maven, so all the basic building blocks are covered there, and I have also explained why do we call it as a build tool. Okay, but just to give you a reference, when you work for the project, right, you need to take care of a lot of things. You need dependencies, you need some plugins, you need to have some configurations being managed, right? You need to have a very easy way to run your project. Okay, you need to do the compilations, right? So if you do not use a build tool, you would have to do all of those tasks by yourself manually, one by one. By using such a tool, which is a build tool, right, Maven or Gradle, right, whatever you're comfortable with or knowledge with you have, you should have at least one understanding on it. But for our course, we'll be using Maven, right? And this takes away all those pains from your plate, right, and provides you all from a single click. Okay, so this is your Maven build tool. What else? We'll use Java, Selenium, TestNG, Allure, Maven. What we will have more is okay. So this is the tech stack, right, which we'll use. So this is your programming language. This is okay. This portion will cover your what? This will cover with your web part, right? What do we need more? We'll have more modules. Okay, okay. I'm just trying to understand the most important ones. The next thing which we'll have is a REST assured library. Why we would have it? Because we wanted to do API automation also, right? Now what we'll do is this will provide you API library, okay, which can help you to call your APIs from the code, right? And again, we are using Java to do this. So again, I showed you, right, we already have a course on it, right? So please, you can get all the basic understanding of REST assured from there. Now, what else? REST assured and all. We'll be using a lot of design patterns. Some of them, some of the significant ones are singleton, factory design, and builder pattern. And there is one more which I'm forgetting right now. I'll tell you, right? So these are the patterns. Now if you want, you can access, you can get the understanding of these patterns. There is a folder here, but I will be also covering these patterns as part of this framework. Okay, so you can if you want to wait till that time, please wait. Otherwise, you can please go and check here. You have, so I told you DevOps section, right? There is a DSA section also, or I would show here if I can show framework. Okay, where we have so you also, I am also giving access to Cucumber, right? But I am not going to use Cucumber in our framework. I dislike Cucumber. I do not like it. So but since industry uses it, I have placed it here, right? We have covered the entire module. So if anyone is interested, please use that. But I feel it as an extra layer which does not really serve the purpose for which it was originated in the first place. Okay, so I don't use it, at least. What I am telling you here is where is my called design pattern, design principles, DSA. No, it is not here. Just a second. Here, right? In the Java SZ itself, right, you have a design patterns. If you go there, we have covered singleton, factory design, page object model pattern, right? So all these patterns are covered here, right? But again, I am going to cover all these patterns again once the time comes, right, in a framework, because that is the real thing when it comes to framework design. Okay, so I'll cover it as part of our classes. So at least this part you can ignore if you want to ignore, right? So the fourth part was page object model pattern, right? This design. Okay. Uh, this builder pattern, right, is very important for the API part. Okay, when it comes to the API layer, right, we'll be using this a lot. Form pattern is more for the web part. Okay, and singleton and factory design are based on your needs, whatever you want to design, right? So we have to do couple of things. We have to create a session management layer, right, which will help us to create a which will help us to manage the sessions of the Selenium. So for that, we will see, right, how we will be able to achieve it using the concept of these patterns and all. Okay, so we'll see the use cases of all the things. So there are other needs, right, which you have to have. So we'll talk about all those needs, right, once we start discussing. So this is the next thing, design patterns. Another thing which you will use, right, as so this is this. So if you do all of these, right, you would be able to create a framework. Let's say, right, you have a framework ready, which looks like something like this. Let me show you this. Again, I'm just giving you a glimpse, right, how your framework might look like. This is, and again, you have the GitHub repos for all these things also already, because we have designed these framework as part of our courses. but these are two different frameworks, API separately and web separately. We would combine them together and form a single framework. Okay. It load, right? So close. Okay, so this is our again, this is not completely ready, but yeah, we are in the process. As I said, it will take a week more to complete this framework, the rest assured one. But this is our rest assured framework. Similarly, we have our framework for Java Selenium, which looks like this. Okay, which looks like this. Again, it's very detailed, and I mean, we're covering almost all the things here, right? So this is how the structure of our framework will look like. Now imagine these are two different frameworks, web and API. My intention is to club them together and create a single framework which will have both the capabilities, and that is what we are trying to achieve as part of our bootcamp. Okay, so this framework is able to run only web test cases. This framework is currently able to run only API. I want to have this capability in our web framework and then use that API layer to generate some data from the application and feed it to the web. That is the real thing, right? Which is the real use case of our unified framework. Okay, so we'll design it, and this is only for Selenium. If I talk about Playwright, which I'm about to do now, that would be using another editor called Visual Studio Code. So we'll talk about that also. But okay, let's go back first of all. Okay, so this is what we'll design, right? Now, once you are done with the designing of this, we will also run it on a CI/CD server, right? So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use AWS for my node agent. Again, to understand about AWS, we have a course on it. We'll be using Jenkins as our CI server, and we will be using our pipeline to do the execution. Okay. We you would require some knowledge on Linux. Again, we have a module covered in our DevOps section, right? So we'll use those concepts in designing our pipeline, okay, or interacting with the Linux system. And what we have, we are going to anyhow use Git and GitHub, right? As I said, because every day I'll be making a push, right? For every we are going to do is in our repo on GitHub, right? On our repo on GitHub, we would be maintaining the code day wise. Okay, I will be maintaining the code day wise. So it would, if you have to push your changes from local to remote, right, you need some knowledge on Git also. So there is a module for that also. Okay, so we, again, as I said, right, all the basic building blocks are ready and the courses are available. Okay, so if you have any doubts on any of these, you have to go and check those videos. My intention would be to design this framework as part of this bootcamp for all the basic knowledge, that those courses are your real source of information. Okay, but still, if you have some specific doubt, feel free to ask. Okay, so these are the things, AWS, Jenkins, Linux, and we'll design a framework. Now the last thing which I will try, right, I'm not committing, but I will try to include AI part to it, and I will try to use memcb servers to make our program, right, entire thing look like future ready, right? And this is what is the need of the hour. Okay, so we'll see if I can integrate this. I'm not committing, but I will try my best to have it. Okay, now by doing all this, you will have your first framework ready. Okay, now what are the tools you need? You need Java for sure, and you need this, right? Please install IntelliJ IDE, because that is the ID which I'm going to use for our coding part. If you are someone who is coming from Eclipse background, I do not have a problem. Please continue using it, but please do not expect me because to have to solve some queries on it, because I am out of touch of Eclipse for almost 4 years now. Okay, I have not used Eclipse for 4 years. I'm just using this part. Okay, so I might not have the answers. We have auto heading viewers and AI or any third party plugin, right? Venkat, see, I am currently trying to see. I am not very good in AI right now. Okay, I am very frank. I have to cover when I'm saying this, right. I'm saying this with a lot of understanding that I'm trying to learn on AI, right, and trying to see like how it can best fit into our use case and whatever would be required, right, and I would be able to build that knowledge in a month's time. Okay, so then I can tell you like what I'm going to use or what I will be missing out. Okay, so please wait for that time. I will give you a roadmap for that also. Okay, I am also planning a boot camp in the December month for AI in testing. But again, that's a different case. But before that, right, I will try to include whatever I can as part of this. Okay, I'll try my best. Okay, so this is what our framework, first framework will look like. So what you need this part, you need this third thing which you need is to install Maven. Okay, so please install these three things. And one last thing, I am going to use Windows. I have a Windows laptop. Okay, so if you are on the Windows laptop, I can help you. I can really help you with all your queries. But if you are on Mac, or let's say if you are someone who is good on Linux and want to work on it, please use it. But please do not expect me to provide an answer to it, because I am a Windows guy, right? Most of the time, I can help you in the Mac problem also, but it takes away the interest, right, from one topic to another. So if you can follow along on the Windows laptop, it would be very good, so that there is less to and fro from each of us, right? Okay, so this is what our first framework structure will look like. Similarly, we'll create a second framework there, right? If you see, okay, let me try to, okay, I cannot write, there's no space left. Um, let me try to do it here. The second framework, right, which I will try to create, the second framework which we'll try to create is using Playwright. Okay, with Playwright, okay, now let's try to write it, right? Let's try to write. What does this framework will look like? First of all, okay, let me just also tell you here, right? The extra things which I have to take care of, right? The extra thing, if I talk about Java Selenium, I have to take care of session management, first thing. Second thing, I have to take care of parallelism and cross-browser testing also. This is like a separate concern which I have to handle, because Selenium by default does not give you these capabilities. This is something which you will have to design from your own pocket. Okay, so we'll do this, right? Similarly, there are, like, if you see, right, this reporting framework, testing framework, right, these are all something extra, right? These are all something extra which for which we are using these libraries. If you use Selenium, right, this part. Okay, so there are a lot of things which are extra which you have to put from your own pocket, or by using third party library to buy, because Selenium does not provide you those capabilities, right? Now when it comes to Playwright is a beast. Okay, is a beast, because when you use Playwright, you are going away, right? You are keeping a lot of things away from you, because all those things are already inbuilt into the Playwright. Okay, like what? If I talk about Playwright, right, what I will be using, I will be just importing. Okay, what is the installation which you need? Let's first write it here. First of all, you need Node.js with you. Okay, I think I have Node.js 22 version, so I would expect you to please install the latest version, again a long-term support version of Node.js on your machines. Okay, if again you can do it now, I would recommend, right, do it before our usual class starts, right? You can do that. Node.js, so please install it. Once you install this Node.js, right, again, how to install it, we have covered this in our video. So if you would please go here in our JavaScript section. There is that JS Estate Bootcamp, right? If you go there, JavaScript part, we have covered, right? We have covered install Node. So this is the first video where we have talked about how to install Node.js, how to install Visual Studio Code, which would be our editor to write code in for Playwright. Okay, so we have covered all of that here, right? So please use this video to install things. Coming back, Node.js. So what is the editor we use? We'll be using Visual Studio Code. Okay, for the editor part. As of now, these are the two things which you need. That's it. So if I talk about totality, you need three things from Java to install, IntelliJ IDE so that you can write code, and the third thing is the Maven. From the Playwright part, right, you need Node.js and you need Visual Studio Code. Everything else we'll do it as part of the class. Okay, so Playwright. Now what you need to use? We'll be using TypeScript as a language, right, to write our code. We are not going to use native JavaScript. We're going to use TypeScript. Why? Because in the industry, people use TypeScript to create the framework. They do not use native JavaScript. Although even you're writing TypeScript, right, when Node.js would be compiling your needs to run your code, right, it would be compiling your JavaScript, your TypeScript to JavaScript, right? But that is a task we are leaving to Node.js to perform, and then it will execute the stuff, right? So you need TypeScript, okay, as a language. So this will be our language two we will be using. Again, we have the course of these, so please go and access them if you have any doubts on that part. The second thing, what we'll use is we use Playwright. Playwright is a npm library, right, which will include here, right. This is now I see the name which I will type. I call it as a testing framework. I call it as a testing framework. Why I call Selenium as a browser automation library and this as a testing framework? Understand the difference, right? Understand the deep difference. Selenium is just a library which helps you to somehow control your browser. That's it. But Playwright is a beast, as I said, right? It is a framework built by, so Playwright is a product of Microsoft, right? And this is a very intelligent thing, right, which they've done. In the Playwright, right, what you can do is you have all the things inbuilt. You have the just a second. Okay, I think I have a problem. Just a second. Okay. 1 second now. So just 1 second. Okay, I hope you can see. Okay, my screen freezed. Why? Just a second. Sorry. Okay, I think my screen is back. Okay. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, great. So,
Yes.
okay, so for Playwright, right? As you can compare, right? If you start comparing with this part, you see we used Java. So for in case of Playwright, we'll be using TypeScript. Instead of using Selenium, we'll be using Playwright. Now, see this test engine you are using for testing framework. You do not need a testing framework separately in the case of Playwright because it has the all the things inbuilt. Okay, so you would not require a testing framework. Second thing, here you were using Allure as a reporting framework. Again, you do not need this in case of Playwright because it already has a very good reporting mechanism in place. So you do not need these two. You would, in case of and Node, right? Since you are creating a Node project, when it comes to Playwright, since you're using TypeScript, you do not require Maven. Okay, you do not require Maven. What you would require is npm, Node Package Manager, to have your dependencies or to have uh, things, right, to run the stuff. Okay, so we'll see that part. Rest assured, you do not need because Playwright again has a API capabilities within it, right? So if you see, all these four things are not required from outside because all these things are inbuilt to, not all these four things, these three things, these three things. Maven you do not need because you're using Node.js, you'll be using npm there, right? But for these three things, right, you do not need something extra. Okay, so you do not need this. So what you need is only the Playwright library, and it will provide you all three things. It has a reporting thing, it has a testing framework inbuilt, and it has the third thing, which was what, this API part, right? API part also. So all are inbuilt. So you just need this library. What else it provides you? If you see, I was telling in case of Selenium, you need to build the capabilities, right? Session management, parallelism, and cross-browser testing, right? And there are a lot of other areas. And this is not easy to. Session management is the biggest thing, right? When it comes to designing a framework. In case of Playwright, all these things are taken care inbuilt. You do not need to design them. They are already inbuilt. You just need to understand how to consume it. Okay. So if you see, you these extra things, which is session management and parallelism, cross-browser testing, all things are inbuilt. Okay, so you do not need them. So if you see, what do I need? Only TypeScript as a language. Sorry, only Playwright as a language and Node.js. That's it. Node.js. Once you install Node.js, you also get npm. So no extra thing installation required. If it comes to I mean, so using npm, right, we will be installing a lot of different libraries. Okay, But the core part here is only Playwright, and that's why I call it as a beast, because if you see, all these capabilities are provided here. Then do you see Playwright completely? Physical industry, I see a lot of benefits Playwright. Well, what you are saying, right? What you are analyzing is absolutely correct, but it does not mean that it will take away Selenium, right? Try to understand there is a learning curve required. There's a very huge learning curve. You have to understand, right? The QA industry. I'm sorry to say this, but in the QA industry, people are not ready to upskill. They are still thinking that if we learn manual, we are very good in our space, and there is no need to even move ahead from that place. Forget about people trying to switch from Java to TypeScript. It's a whole lot of new learning, right, which is required, and people are not ready for it. Those who are self motivated, right, and who are taking these steps to make the transition, I'm telling you, they are the ones who will benefit from it, right, during the current transition which is happening in the industry. Those who are leaving behind, right, who are leaving the things on fate, I'm sure they will soon realize that that's a mistake which they're making. Okay, but as you said, right, which is correct, Playwright is the beast, and this is what people are using. But try to understand, right, you have a very big backlog in the industry which is written using Selenium, and you do not have the workforce, you do not have the workforce ready, right, who can translate that Selenium thing into Playwright. That's the first bottleneck. Second bottleneck is the cost, right? If you already have something which is built using Selenium and all, and they have been running and supporting your project or your business, right, companies are not ready to pay an extra amount to just transition this to the other part. Again, now the companies are making a mistake, because it will create it. There is something called tech debt. Okay, there is something called tech debt which will keep on piling, right, if people do not, I mean, move along with the trend and with the industry. So what you said is correct. People should move to Playwright and use it because it gives a lot of benefits. But try to understand there are challenges at the individual level, at the company level, and at the cost level. Okay, but who are able to make this transition at least individually, they will see a lot of benefit. I'm sure they will see a lot of benefit in their price, in their salary, in their other stuff. Okay, they will definitely see a lot of good work coming their way, and a lot of opportunities existing in the industry, because as I said, people are already using Selenium. People do want to transition from here to here. It's just that the people who can do it are missing. I hope with this kind of a bootcamp, people get all the necessary knowledge, right, and able to do that, right. So that is where these kind of bootcamps really help, or your self learning can also help. It's not that only the bootcamps can help, right. If you are someone who can follow along the respective tools, right, from their own reference site, nothing is better than that. Even I'm not, right. If you go and start having the habit of learning from the core sites, that is the best thing to have. That is what I do. I go to the reference site, learn from there, right? Each and everything I learn from there, practice it, and then this is where I'm coming up and teaching you all. I did not, someone did not prepare me, right? I'm preparing it from the reference sites. Okay. So I think that is the best way to learn things. Okay. But I'm trying to make things easy for people who cannot do it. That is where my role is coming. Okay, Vaibhav, I hope you understood my point, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Akhil.
Yep, thank you. So, okay, so moving ahead, right? So this is what you need. So again, what you need to install Node.js and Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now the last part. Let us now look at so these are the two things, right? As I said, we would try to complete our Selenium part, right, in maybe 5 weeks. Okay, I think it will take this much time to do it. Okay, in case of Playwright also, right, once we will be preparing a framework, we will be using some design patterns, we will see. And what we'll do is we will be using again Jenkins, AWS, right, and Linux, right, to have our CI/CD pipeline created. Okay. One more thing, right, which I will try to include here, right, which I will try to include is, okay, what is our demo application? Our demo application is this. This is our demo application. So I'm pinging this link to everyone. This is a very good site, right? I feel, and I have. Okay, I'm pinging it here. I'm pinging in our Discord channel also. And let me just post it here. Now this is the UI layer, right? This is the UI layer. There is a API layer also available for this application. Okay, which I will show you, or you can go and access our REST, our API module. There you will be able to find. Okay, so this is our application. But currently, if you see, right, it is currently hosted on a server somewhere, right? Maybe at someone's server, right? And this is running from there. So you can think of it like a QA environment where they have deployed this on a QA server somewhere. Now let's say, right, you wanted to, so this is like, you have different types of environments, right, in your organization: QA, prod, UX, staging, and all that, right? Consider this as your staging, or let's say your QA environment, right? Now what we'll do is, we'll also try to create a local environment. We'll try to set up this application locally. Okay, this web application plus the API layer. We will automate everything on this QA environment, or this environment only, right? Okay, on this environment. But once we are ready with the framework, I will show you how you can run this entire stuff on a local setup also for this application. That would be like an icing on the cake, right? For, because if you understand me right, majority of the hardcore technical stuff, right, which people do in SDET, what they do is they set up their modules or things, right, locally on their machine. They do not need an environment. They do not ask DevOps to create an environment for them. What they do is they take the raw code, right? They build that code locally on their system, generate the application, and then they run their test cases on that generated application, which is locally running on their machine. Okay, so I'll try to give you that feel also. Okay, and this will show you that our framework would be agnostic of the environments we consume. Okay, you can run it on QA, prod, and all that. What is the differentiating factor in these environments? One is the where they are hosted, and second is the test data. Since we are taking care of the test data through the API layer, right, it does not matter to us. Okay, it does not matter to us on which environment we are running, because we are going to generate the data every time freshly for our test cases through APIs. Okay, so this will really take all our work to a next level. Now to understand like what are we trying to achieve as a framework. Okay, and this design will hold true for Playwright and Selenium. Okay, we're going to design the same similar thing for both the stuff. So let us come to the design now. How our framework will look like. We try to clean our board. I will be explaining with the help of Selenium right now, and once the time will come, right, I will again, the same block will work with Playwright, just the by using the different modules. That's it. Okay, so let me just delete this board and open a new board, and I will take 10 more minutes before winding up the session. Okay, this is the last thing for today. I want you to realize like what are we trying to build. Okay, and how the framework will look like. Let's start. Okay, see how our framework will look like. First of all, we need our test execution engine. Okay, we need a test execution engine. Now I'm talking in terms of Selenium right now, right, in Selenium context, so I'll use the terminology from that background only. What you need is, you need a test engine. Okay, when I say test engine, this is something which can help you to run your thing, right, to execute your code. Okay, you need something who can execute your code. Okay, execute your code. Now what you need from this is, now who would, okay, so this is something which will run. Okay, this is like you're running a train, right? To run a train you need an engine, right? That is something which runs the stuff. But who will trigger the engine? The driver. Who would be the driver in this case? What we'll do is again the driver, right? What we'll have is, will have maven use, which is a pom.xml file. Let me first write it here, right? Our pom.xml file, or let's say maven, right? I should not say pom.xml, I should say maven. Maven, right? We'll use maven, right, to trigger things. Now to trigger maven, right, who can trigger? Either it could be us, we can go and manually run our stuff, right? I can just open the project like this from the thing, right, and go and click on play here, right, and it can run the stuff. This is, this still I call it as a manual execution. Okay, you're manually triggering it. The second thing which you could do is, you could use a CI server. which is Jenkins in our case, right? So we can schedule, we can make, we can think like how we can run it. So these are the two options through which this can be triggered. First thing, this is just the, I'm just trying to give you fundamental knowledge, right? We'll see like how these layers will come up, but try to understand, right? So this is how things will trigger. Now test execution will do what? It will run this stuff. Just to give you the reference again, think of it like a test engine or XML file. This is that file which knows what test cases to run, what test cases to run, which classes to hit, and let's say we will also define like what level the parallel execution should be taken at. Either it should be a method level, test level, class level, whatever it is, right? Since we're talking about SNG, okay, test execution. Now this is just triggering the execution, nothing about the framework yet. It is just triggering the execution. Now the real stuff will happen. Once you do it here, right? What you need after this will happen is we will have a test layer where all our test cases would be sitting. Okay, all our test cases. So it will be, let's say, 100, 2000 test cases, whatever it is, right? You will be creating test cases. How do we manage? We'll learn that. Or you can go and learn our format SNG module. Okay, but we'll see whatever we'll be covering here. Test layer, right? This is our test cases. This is a placeholder to keep our test cases. Now, when you work with test cases, right? When you have to create test cases, think of a test case, right? How do you write test case manually? If I ask you to write a test case, you write something like this. You start with prerequisite. You will define what are the steps to perform, right? So all your steps will come here. Then you go with the actual steps, right? Which is your test steps. These are the ones which are your real test steps, right? Here you give a step, right? See, okay, tell me one thing. When I talk about test case, I'm sure many of you are ISTQB certified, or let's say have the basic knowledge of testing. So tell me one thing. I'm sure whenever you took your basic knowledge of testing, you would have heard one thing from everyone who would have taught you how to write test case. They always say that every test case should be atomic and it should be testing one thing only. Okay, every test case should be atomic and it should be, and the objective of the test case should be a single point. It should not be covering multiple stuff, right? That is what we would have heard from our mentors or from books, right? Or maybe from ISTQB certification, right? Or people like me. Okay. Now, when I say this, right? When I say this, what does it mean? Let's say if you go to this application, and currently, let's say if I have to only test this login application, right? This UI, and let's say I ask you to create a test case. How will you create? You will say, okay, my prerequisite is that someone is already on this URL. That is the first prerequisite. Second prerequisite is, I mean, in this case, there is no prerequisite, second, but this is the only one, right? Second is that you need to come here, which is a test step. You will fill this email and password. And the third step here is you will click on sign in. What is the objective of the test case? That user should be, when user provide valid credentials, he should be able to log in. Let's say that's the one test case, right? What check here, right, will make sure that I'm able to achieve my objective. The check is that if someone clicks on sign in, maybe I will log in and I will see a username flashed on the right and top right hand side, and I need to validate whether the username matches to the user which I am currently logged in with, right? That is a check. So what are the steps involved? Fill username, fill password, and then click on sign in, and then you will be doing a validation part, okay, which is your expected and actual result. Expected, you would already have it from somewhere, right? You need to have it somewhere. Actual, you will take it from the screen, and then you will do the validation and make sure whether the test case matches or fails, right? Whatever it is. And you're in the process, you are achieving one stuff, which is to validate whether user is able to log in. Now let's say there is a second case where you will log in, then go to a cart page, you will add a product, and in the end, right, you want to see, let's say the other test case says that validate a user is able to add a product to a cart. Let's say that is a second test case. Now what could be the prerequisite in that case? The prerequisite in that case could be that someone should be already logged in. That is the prerequisite, right? That is the prerequisite, right? And you should already have some products, right, which are already there in the system, so that that product already exists in the system, so that you can consume it to add it to the cart. So those are two prerequisites. Once the user should be logged in. Second, the product should exist in the application. So what I am saying is you have to do something like this. You would be logged into the system. So you are already done logging the system, and somewhere you are, let's say, right? So you are on this page, let's say, right? And this product exists. You will click on it. Let's say, right? What is the end goal? That you need to click on this, add to cart. You need to click on this. That is your end goal. This is what your objective is, right? Your objective was not to reach here to this page. Your objective is to click on this and validate whether this reflects right in your cart or not, this product. That is your end goal. Now, how many of you think that how should I write my test case, or what should be the part of my test case? Okay, now think of it. Think of it this way, right? If I'm asking you this, right, this use case, I told you you would, if you have to run a UI test case, someone needs to log in, someone needs to click on the product, right, and be on that page, and then click on add to cart. This is my real, this is what my objective was, that people should be able to click on add to cart and see the added product in the cart, right? But these are my prerequisites. So, right, if I start doing, if I have to reach here, I have to follow this path only, right? But if you do it through web, right, if you do it through web automation, right, all this thing, right, all these things, then it will take some time. It will take some time, right? Although, see, I have taken a very small case. Let me take a bigger case. Let's say not here, right? Let's say I will complete the flow. Let's say I'm going to the cart. I have added the product already. I am on the checkout screen. Now let's say I just want to validate that someone is able to make the payment. Now, if you see, to reach to this screen, I have to go through 4 different pages and land up here. Okay, and land up here. And if I have to be on this page, I expect that my cart should be already be there, and it should have some products into it, right? Okay. Now, if I am asking you to write a test case, how will you start? Okay, you will start from the login screen. You will log in, go to the cart, add the item to the cart, and then be on the screen, and then be able to check out. If you understand this, you understand this part, that it might take 10 to 15 seconds, or maybe not this much. It might take 30 seconds, right, to reach here itself. So you are taking your 30 seconds of execution time just to prepare your prerequisite. Why? Because you're doing it from the web. If you would have done that process through the API, right, and able to generate the data and directly just log in and reach to this screen, right? Imagine how much time you're saving. APIs runs very fast, right? It will be very fast. So it will be running all this stuff, and then you can just be here. That is where our API layer will come into the picture. Our API layer will make sure that all this data already exists on the screen. So what is the only thing pending for us as part of the test case? I will just log in from the application and reach to the screen by directly navigating to this page, and I will see the data here. And what I can do is I can just validate whether I'm able to move ahead from here or not. I hope this gives you an idea of what that unified framework will help us in our overall building of the framework, right? We are using API to generate data in the application and use that data for our web test cases. That is the real goal of our framework, right? Okay, here I was here, right? So again, coming back, right? So you need some steps, you need some pre-steps, you need to run some steps here, right? So there is a expected, there's an actual test case which will run, and then in the end you will also clean up, which are called as post steps. Let's say you want to log out, from the application, right? You want to log out. Okay, okay, now let's complicate this further. Imagine you have 5 test cases, right? You have 5 test cases, and you want to run them parallelly. Okay, you want to run them parallelly. One test case is adding an item to the cart, second is removing the item from the cart, third is doing something else, fourth is doing something else, right? Now imagine if you use the same username for all your test cases, right? And you're trying to run it parallelly. Although you are doing everything correct technically, but the only problem you're doing here is using the same test data, right? If you use the same test data to run all the test cases, again, it's a big problem. Today we have 5 test cases, tomorrow you might have 100, then you might have 1,000, right? You can have so many test cases. You cannot manage your test data by yourself manually. Having an API layer as an option to generate data, unique data for every test case, right, is the need, right, which we need to meet. So what we are going to do here is for every test case. For every test case, I am going to create a new user through APIs. I'm going to use it to log into the application. I'm going to go and feed the data from the API, right, to generate to be at that state where I should be in the web test case. And then once my data is ready through API, I will use that data and log in only in the application through web and reach to that screen and just run that test case. Now, when I'm doing in this way, right? Imagine since my data was created only for this test case, and it will close after this, right? Right? Parallelly, if another test case is running, right? That test case again is going to create a new data, right? A user again, and then use that user for it. So if you see, both the users are separate, they are not interacting with each other, and they are not going to hamper each other's work. That is the kind of framework we are trying to vision here, right? And be able to create it. Okay. So again, I hope this second complexity is also helping you to understand the kind of framework which you are trying to build. Now, how it will look like? You have a test case where you will write all this. Then to achieve this, right, you need some prerequisite and all, right? So you will have a POM layer. Okay, let me write here. You will have a POM layer, page object model layer, where we will create this is for the web part, right? This is for the web portion. You will create a POM layer, and it will have everything here, right? Now, POM layer is like, if you want, let's say, clicking on a button, filling the username and password on the login screen, right? So for that, you will create a login POM and have these methods over there. But to feed the data to it, right, you need something in between, right? Right. So this test case, in the end, right, will have to call the POM, but before that, they need to prepare the data. So here, right, the data preparation will be happening. I will give you the entire structure of the framework, right? I'm just trying to place some blocks here. But what will happen here is data preparation. Now, how the data preparation will look like? It will be done through the REST, through our API framework. Okay. What we have there? Again, it's a very, let me just write here, right? The data preparation through API as of now. Okay. It's a very complex structure, which I will show you afterwards. But this is what we'll have. Now, what we'll do is we'll just call the required, we will just create some utility methods which will call the relevant APIs, right, and prepare our data. And then the data, once it is generated, right, we are going to store it into an object and then feed it to a POM layer. Okay. Now, POM layer will do what? It will go to the web application and do our stuff. Once we are done with it, right, let's say we will have some expected data returned from there to our test case. Okay, to our test case. And in our test case, we already have the actual data, okay, or the actual thing which we need to validate against. We will take this up and feed it to a verification layer. Okay, verification layer. See, there are a lot of layers involved, right, in this. I'm not drawing it here. You will have a data layer, you will have Pojo layer, you will have a DAO layer, right? You will have a lot of utilities layer, right? All of these would be existing. I will show it to you, right, maybe in the next day, in the next class, how it will look like. But imagine, right, what will happening here? You're providing your actual and expected data. It will move to here, right? And this will be helping you to decide whether your test case passed or failed, right? And then what you will do is you will have a reporting framework which will then publish your report, right, and everything. And that is where your test case will run. Again, this is just a very lame, I would say, layman kind of a overview which I'm trying to give you here, right? The detail I will give you in the next class, but try to understand. This is what my overall goal is. It looks like 4 blocks, right? But imagine, see the blocks which we have in our framework right now. If I show you, see this. I'll try to show you to you from here, right? This is our web framework, okay? This is our web framework. The structure looks like this, right? See here. Let me close everything. I hope this will give you some index. I told you, right? We will do what? We will create some configurations. So I've created some configuration. To run my entire framework, I just need to click on it and it will run the framework. That's it. That is how the control I have created here, right? I just need to click on it and start running my test case. Now, how it is doing? Once I run it, right, it goes to pom.xml file, which looks like this. Okay, we'll design all of this. Okay, you have see all the dependencies, all the plugins and everything, right, being controlled from here. After this, right, what we'll do is, if you see, we have a plugin management for TestNG, and where we say like what TestNG file to run through plugin, right? It says this file to run. So let's say where is this splice place? This is right. So this, let's say this size. This is the file. So here you tell, okay, let go and run in what parallel mode, what thing, right? And you're running the stuff. Now this will move your control to the file which is mentioned here, right? This part. So you will go to the test part. Here it goes there, and in the test part, this is your test ng end to end. This is your test case. Okay, this is your test case. Currently, the test case which I would like to show you is not this one. Where is our one? If you see, right, this is our test case. Verify card pay data. Okay, this is our framework which looks like this. Again, as I told you, this currently the repo write only contains the web part. It does not contain both the stuff. Okay, we are in the process of creating that framework, and then you will very soon see in the same repo the API layer embedded. Okay, now if you see, it looks very easy when I'm showing it on the screen, right? That okay, go and create it like this layer, right? The test layer. This is the test case layer, and then just hit the POM. See what all it will happen. First of all, this layer is missing right now, which I'm in the process of creating it, and you will see in a week. But currently, we are trying to feed the data directly to the POM by the test data, by some test data file, which is an Excel sheet. Currently, right, our data source is this, right, in this framework. So it is feeding the data to it and then hitting it. So this layer work is done by Excel right now. But even when I'm using Excel, see the structure of the framework. We have so many utilities, right? If you go to a utility section, which is here, right? Utilities. We have so many utilities. This is to read your configuration. This is to work on the Excel sheets. This is to manage your screenshots, right? This is your to have the weight mechanism in place. Again, with Playwright, you have auto weight mechanism. So a lot of that pain also goes away with Playwright. Okay. So at least you will not require a couple of them in the Playwright part. Then you have WebDriver. To have the session management in place, we have this structure ready where I'm using the factory design pattern to only manage my sessions. Okay, to only manage my sessions. Again, on different stuff, right? So we need to have all this in place. Then what you will have is you have the POM layer. If you see, right, this is the POM layer which we have designed for all the different pages which we have on the application. Right, just for the example, if you see the login form, this is what the login form will look like. Okay, so similarly we have created for all the pages. Then if you go to the DAO layer, again, I have not explained DAO layer, but just to have the DAO layer again, we have used the builder pattern here, and we are using the concept of data access objects to have the to feed the data into the POM files and even retrieve the data from the screen. Okay, so this is all helping us there. Based on our logic in the application, we have to do some calculations. So we have created a utility called calculator, which helps us to do some calculations, and we will build on top of it. Okay. Then if you go to the web test cases, this is your test case where we have listeners, which is our test engine listener, which is helping us to add some stuff to our LEO report. Okay. So again, this is another thing. But going to the actual test case, this is the actual test case. If you see, a lot of things are happening here. Okay, a lot of things are happening here. It might look like less things, but please imagine to build this, to reach to be able to write this line, right, to be able to run a code like this, which looks like this, right? If you see, this is our test case. Let's say, right, we are trying to run. So here, right, to achieve this, we have to have everything in place, and we need to understand every module, every component, every layer, step by step. Okay, but in the end, right, you will see something like happening this, and then you will have your reporting, right, being generated. I think it will generate where I do not have a LEO report to show, but it will be generated right afterwards. So we have a LEO reporting also, LEO report also configured into it. Okay, so you can just imagine, right, the work which you're doing. If I can show you one last thing for today, just the last thing, Playwright. Uh, do you want to cancel? Let me open a new window. And let's open the recent one, which is Playwright. See the Playwright framework now. Again, this only covers the web portion. API portion is missing. Will you will see this being handled, but this is your API framework structure, which will look like this. Okay, we have form layers. If you see, right, the idea is same. The way to achieve it would be different across both the stuff, right? But the idea is same. You have the DAO layer, you have the form layer, right? You have the verification layer, you have the utilities, right? You have the how do you read your data. Again, we are reading it from the test data file here, the JSON file, but again we'll be using API layer into it, right? Assertion layer, right? Then you have data control layer. So again, depending on what you use, right, you will have to do all this. The Jenkins node setup and all this, right? We have mentioned all this here. Okay. So again, this is what we will be trying to achieve as part of this program. And I hope, right, it will be a very good learning experience for each one of us, and we will learn a lot as part of this. But please remember, the overall objective of this bootcamp is to learn framework designing. The objective is not to, not to do hand holding in understanding a particular module, right? If you wanted to learn something around, let's say, if you do not know about Playwright, then your source of information of learning Playwright is our course, right? If you do not know about TypeScript, the source of information of learning our about TypeScript is the course which is mentioned here, right? All of these. Although, although I what I will do, right, just to help you with the process, what I will do is once I start once we start with something, right, in a framework and we require some knowledge, right, I will still give some initial understanding, or at least the required understanding of that module, but that would be a very limited knowledge, okay, because the tail knowledge is in that code. So let's say if we start working on Playwright, right, Playwright and TypeScript, I will give you some information, the information which can help you to start following along the videos, right, and the work which we'll be doing in the class. Let's say what I will give you some idea about Playwright, how Playwright will work, how you can set up TypeScript, and how what exactly you need to learn. I will tell you about async await, how it works, and maybe the promise handling also, right? So, right, and how do you write some of the basic stuff on TypeScript? That's it. But the overall understanding again will come from the course, right? Okay. So please be ready, right, to put a lot of efforts. It's just a matter of 2 months. Okay. If you're able to do it, please understand that we are trying to build something here which can really change the direction of our careers, right, by gaining such expertise. And again, I'm telling you, right, from my experience, you would not find a lot of companies even using such tech, some such techy things, right, in the framework. They still use legacy kind of design, and they are still following it for the purpose because there is no one to change it, right, and no one wants to put the effort. By learning all this, it can really help you to make a switch or maybe transition your current framework to something else, right, and have better things at your workplace. And but anyhow, it can really help you to with your next step, right, in your career. Okay, and I hope we all agree with it. Okay, let me stop here. So that is what I wanted to cover today, and I hope it gave you an idea what you can expect in the next 8 weeks to come. Right? Any queries? Anyone wants to ask something? Please go ahead. No?
I think, Akhil, you have covered most of the portion in quite detail, I would say, from my side.
Thank you. See, again, I'm sure you will feel the same stuff during those 8 weeks also, right? But as I said, there would be a lot of work on your side also to cover the basic modules wherever you are missing or having some gap, right? Okay, one last thing which I will again like you to know, right, before the next class. If see what skill set do we need to work for next 5 weeks, right? So I would recommend, right, if someone wants to brush up their knowledge, please work on Java, Selenium, Maven, TestNG, and Allure. And when it comes to Git, right, just understand how do you push your changes, right? How do you create branches? How do you push to the respective to your remote branch, right? How do you create a remote branch and add it to your local repo, right? So learn all of that on GitHub. Go and create a repo, right? And then whatever you do locally, right, connect it with the remote repo and see this. Although I'm going to show you this also, right, in a class. right? But try to use all our resources to get understanding with this if someone is not having that, right? No, Kingsley, no. I'm not saying that this unified framework is something which you would use in all the places. No, this is something which would see. What happens is, right, see, the problem is that this kind of framework will work in the places where you can use these capabilities to do things, right? Sometimes you do not have the control on all the areas, right, in the project. So I would say in those places it might not be a good thing, right? But in the majority of the things, right, it would still be a good thing. But what people do is they try to create two separate frameworks, web separately and API separately, right? You can still do it in this unified framework also. What you can do is your single framework will have the capability of both the stuff. Okay. uh, largely speaking, like how the approach should be, you should always have a single project. Okay, that is what is my understanding is, right? If you are using the same tech stack, I wanted to use Java, so and I want to use SSO in Selenium, then it makes all the sense to make sure that it is all in a single project. Okay, why? Because we are not trying to create microservices here, right, for our automation frameworks. No, right? If it is using the same tech stack, why not to have it in a single framework? Okay, that is the first thing. Second thing, having in the same framework does not mean that you have to use API to feed your web test cases always. No, right? What you can have is you have both the capabilities, web plus API. You want to run only web test cases which do not depend on API, please run them through the same framework, right? By using the same project. If you only want to run the API framework, right? API test cases, run them using the same project, right? So no two separate places. Having it in the same place also helps your team, right? You do not need to have different expertise across teams. Everyone needs to understand one project and able to understand everything in a single place. Okay, that is again a bigger, that is also a very good thing to have in the project. The third thing, right, which is the practical aspect of it, if you which is to now use your API to feed the web test cases, which is debatable concept, right? Can you do it in all the places? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is no. Sometimes your application is very big enough, right, that you cannot achieve such a thing. What you can achieve is maybe in silos you can achieve stuff. Let's talk about Amazon. Let's say if you're working with Amazon, and Amazon is a giant, right? You cannot have such a framework in place to test your entire Amazon. No, you will have to have separate modules somewhere, right, which are able to target specific area. Okay, Amazon is a big site, but there they also have small teams which are working on some specific area. In their specific areas, let's say someone is working only on payments, right? Let's say, so there's a payments team. So the payment team, I'm sure they have a UI and they have a API layer, right? They can design this framework for themselves just to hit that payment part. And for the other services which are being used for the payment, let's say someone is like an input to the payment, and someone is like, which could be the I mean, for which the input becomes the for which the payment becomes the input, right? So you see, there is some input components and output components, and which are not part of payment. So what you can do for the input, maybe you can use some mocking so that you can feed the data, right? But the overall objective of the payment you can still meet with this framework. Now it comes to like what can you offer to the outside world? You can still test it as part of the framework, right? You can make sure that okay, that whatever your connected modules expect from your module, right, you are generating it or not. That again can be tested through this framework. Okay, so I'm not saying that this single framework will help you to test a big giant like Amazon, no, but at least if you are working on a specific module, let's say payment, right, this can still help you, right? But again, for that part you will have to first understand the business and your architecture level, right, of your application also. Nothing can see, you cannot design a good framework if you do not understand your application. First of all, you need to understand the functional part of it. Then also you need to have some depth understanding of your architecture. What is the tech stack used at the backend? What is the tech stack used at the front end? How is the architecture layer placed? How these three layers are talking to each other? Web with API with database, right? And where can you tap on? Do you, if you are using API, are those APIs exposed to you or not? Some are private APIs also, right, which are used internally only. If you do not have the access to APIs, then this entire thing of using API with web does not make any sense. Okay, so it all depends on your context, right? But it's a very good technique, right, to have like everything in one place and be able to run it. I hope it answers your query, right?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Vaibhav, I hope I think I was able to explain my point also, right? Any other queries anyone has?
Yeah.
No?
No, okay.
Great. Thank you so much. I think we are done for today, right? This video, you will find it in the, once this recording gets available, you will find this video under the Super 100 program, right? In this folder. I will create a folder for Super 100 B1, okay? And today's recording will go there. So please, if someone wants to go back and refer it, please check that video over there. And all the subsequent videos will also be placed in the folder only, okay? I think, and please, if someone does not have the access to any of our resources, I have shared the link. Please tell me, and then I will share that. Yeah, Pawan, please go ahead.
Akhil, I have accepted the Discord, but not able to see this Super 100 in the Discord channel.
This is our Google Drive, right?
No, not this one.
You're not able to
Discord.
see the. Okay, you're not able to see that. Okay, let me just give you the access right away. You joined when? You joined just now?
Just now also I have accepted. Previously also I have.
Okay, let me just search for your name. With which name you have connected?
Pavan underscore 00704.
Okay, I do not see it here. Let me just check the thing. Okay. People, no. Channel settings, server settings, members. Okay, let me just search for you. Yeah, please tell me your name. What ID you have saved?
Pavan underscore
Pawan underscore 07.
00704.
This one, right? 00704.
Yes.
Now check. You will be able to see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anything else? Anyone? Again, I'm saying, right, if anyone has not got the access, please write to me, and I have shared all the links on the Discord channel Super 100. Please do it from there. Okay. And if still you have a problem, reach out to me on WhatsApp or LinkedIn. I will be answering over there, right, and providing you the links over there. Okay, so if nothing else, let's wrap it up for today, and we'll meet next week, and we'll start with our program. Right? Thank you so much. I hope, right, it was informative, and you got the idea of what you can expect here. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Let's meet next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye.